Jack Grealish to Everton is done. It's been given the here we go by Fabrizio Romano, and he will undergo his Everton medical this afternoon ahead of joining them on loan for the season from Manchester City. And I think this is a fantastic signing. It's a fantastic transfer for all parties involved. I think it's brilliant for Everton. If they can get close to the Grealish that we've seen before, peak Jack Grealish, they're in for a treat. He'll bring goals, he'll bring assists, he'll bring creativity, he can play in more than one position. I think what that Everton squad is currently lacking a little bit of, Jack Grealish could potentially bring it. I think this is brilliant for David Moyes. I think this is exactly his type of player. I think Moyes often needs a player or two like that in his starting 11 to get the best out of David Moyes' system. Everton fans are in for an absolute treat. Combining both of those things, they could be in for a bit of fun. And that's what Grealish can bring to your team. Fun, entertainment. New stadium open for Everton fans. Jack Grealish in there. And if they can get close to prime Jack Grealish, they are going to absolutely love him. There's a rule in football, isn't there? Never fall in love with the lone player. Everton fans are going to have to be prepared to break that rule. I think they will be. I think Everton fans will just consume Jack Grealish. And I think most importantly, this is a good move for Jack Grealish. He needed to get this right. Coming out of the season, it felt inevitable Grealish was going to leave. And then he was left out of the Club World Cup squad, which basically said, go find a club. And as a neutral looking at it, I thought there was two clubs I felt would be an ideal destination for him. Number one was obviously Aston Villa, returning home. But also I thought there was a vacancy in the Villa squad for someone like Grealish. Rashford and Asensio on loan there last season, returning to their parent clubs. Maybe there was space for Grealish to go back there. And then the other one was Everton. And a lot of it is because of David Moyes. But it's not just Moyes, it's the Everton fans as well. They will treat him like a hero. I think Grealish is that type of player who needs the love. He needs the confidence. He needs the encouragement and the cheers to take your players on, do your step overs. I think he got that at Villa. I think he got it at City as well, actually. City fans are good fans. They get a lot of criticism for the empty hat and all that. I think Man City have got a really good fan base, personally. I do think they've got one. But I just feel like that Grealish we all knew and loved has just faded away slowly at the Etihad. And like I said, I'll say it again, apologies if you heard me say it before, but City fans, quite a few of them I've seen point to Grealish's house getting robbed, saying that's where it sort of felt like it started going downhill a little bit for him. So maybe he just needs to get away from Manchester, have a fresh start, a clean slate on and off the pitch. He's going to get that at Everton. I think the environment at Everton is just perfect for Grealish, because what is Jack Grealish right now? Who is Jack Grealish right now? Well, he's a player who, on his day, is fun, is exciting, has that flair. That's what Everton could get. And I think that's what Moyes could bring out of him. He needed to get this move right. He's got it right now. And I think Moyes is the type of manager that'll get his arm around him, will make him puff his chest out, will make him feel 10 foot tall and like $1 million, and he might get the best out of him. Now, there is a danger here, and that is it just doesn't work. And we go back to another Manchester City player with Calvin Phillips, went on loan to West Ham under David Moyes. It was a terrible loan, went on loan to Ipswich, it was terrible. And now, after two unsuccessful loans, it feels like Calvin Phillips is finished to some extent. Grealish had to get his loan move right, and I think he's done that. Now, like I said previously, it feels weird using the word potential and attributing it to someone who turns 30 in September, I think, at the start of the season. But I think that's what this transfer is. It has a lot of potential for Grealish, for Everton, and also for Man City. Now, the details of the loan haven't been confirmed yet. I think David Ornstein has said they're still ongoing. So you would imagine that they've agreed the basics, the wage contribution, maybe the fee, and now they're into talking about an option to buy, an obligation to buy. And I hope one of those is there for Everton. Obviously, as a fan, when you're loaning a player in, you want an option there so that if you want to buy him, you can, but if he doesn't work out very well, you can just send him back in happy days. You don't really want the obligation, but in case it's bad and you've got to sign him. But likewise, you don't want the lack of option, because then if he has a successful season, you go back to Man City, they're going to say, hey, big money, please. So I hope there is an option in there which gives Everton security and also gives Grealish security, but also gives him that incentive. You perform for a season, they'll buy you next summer. This is a fantastic move. This is fun. It feels fun. I'm now looking forward to watching Everton when Jack Grealish starts. Because look at that three behind the striker. I'd imagine long-term Barry will start front. Beto might start the season, but Barry would then take his place naturally. But I mean, you've got Ndiaye and Grealish who perhaps both perform best on the left. But let's just say Ndiaye on the left, Grealish in number 10, and Alcaraz out on the right, or McNeil on the right. That's a good trio of attacking midfielders. Now, Everton, it'll be interesting to see if they still go in for dribbling. And if they do, then they're going to have Ndiaye, Grealish, dribbling. I mean, they're going to get excited, Everton fans, aren't they? And they should do. But even if Grealish is on the left, Alcaraz in number 10, and Ndiaye's on the right, I'm going to stick with those three because I think that'll be their first choice three. That's a vast improvement to what they had last season. At times last season, when Ndiaye was out, they had Harrison playing in one of the positions, and they would have Decore in another one, who was a good servant for Everton, but I wasn't his biggest fan over the last couple of seasons. The evolution of Everton, if you like, almost a rebuild job this summer. It's quite impressive. I am impressed. What's that? Their fifth summer signing. So Travers is just a backup goalkeeper. Adam Asnu, who I believe didn't do well at the weekend, but I still think he'll go on and become a really good signing. Dewsbury Hall, I think, feels like a solid signing, especially under David Moyes. Alcaraz on a permanent. Barry, and now Grealish. So 6 signings, 5 new faces, but there's 6 signing. It's good business. It's good business at the Bramley Moor Stadium, the Docks. Big yes. Grealish to Everton, massive yes for me. Anyway, if you're new to Tartan Geo, please do subscribe. Please stick around. And also do drop a like on the video as well by clicking the thumbs up button. It helps a lot more than you think. If we can get a couple of 100 likes, that'd be much appreciated. And also, Fantasy League, if you play it, I've got a private league. There will be a prize at the end of the season for the winner. If you're an Everton fan, it could be a signed Jack Grealish shirt. You never know. Right then, Savinho to Spurs. This is a bit of a surprising one, isn't it? Fabrizio Romano's exclusive late last night that they're looking at the Manchester City winger. I like him. Do you know something? I do like him. Would it be considered a success? I mean, arguably, from a financial standpoint, if he went to Spurs, I think the price was around 50 million. It's I think a decent profit for them. I don't think they paid that much for Savinho, if I remember correctly. But when I've watched City last season, I thought he was their best attacking player prior to Marmoush rocking up. I thought he was looking better than Doku or Bernardo Silva or Phil Foden, whoever it was that was playing out in the wing. I thought Savinho was looking the better one out of all of those. So I think he's a player that, no, you can say potential for him. You can definitely use that. He's definitely got a lot of that. But I like him. There's a lot I like. His numbers aren't, perhaps the best at Manchester City, but I think this would be a good move for him. It'd be a good move for Spurs, who obviously in the market, if due to the injury to James Maddison, certainly not a like-for-like replacement. So clearly there's a bit of a plan going on here. But again, what I noticed was with this rumour is Thomas Frank's a big admirer of him. And that's something we've seen with quite a few transfer rumours in regards to Spurs now, whereas Frank perhaps didn't have this control or influence at Brentford. I imagine he had some say in the recruitment, but it feels like he's getting to bring in players that he really likes to Tottenham this summer. And I think that's important. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one because it's come from Fabrizio Romano. It feels quite legit. It doesn't feel like just paper talk. But it would be a big transfer to happen this summer. Savinho, though, I'm a fan. Tsimikas is likely to leave Liverpool. Wasn't in the squad yesterday for the Community Shield. Obviously, they've got Kerkez now and Andy Robertson, who was expected to join Atletico Madrid about a month ago. Is still there. He came off the bench. Tsimikas wasn't even in the squad. So there's a good player there. I like him. Nottingham Forest linked to him. Now, what I will say, depending on the price tag, I prefer this to Leif Davis, as discussed yesterday. I think this would make sense from a squad depth point of view. When I was talking about Davis, I thought it's too expensive for someone that would be competing with Nico Williams. You're going to spend that much money on a left back. You want him to knock Williams out of the team. And I'm not sure Davis would do that, but I appreciate I'm a big Williams fan. But with Tsimikas, I think, yes, he would be swapping, well, I say the bench at Liverpool. He's not even on the bench, that's the problem. So he would go to Forest and potentially, likely, be on the bench. But because of European football, there's enough minutes to go around next season at the City ground where Williams could play the league games and Tsimikas plays the cup games or something like that. And he will be able to pick up 10, 11, 12 games. Because I expect Forest to... Depends on the competition they're in. Is that coming to a conclusion today? I think it might be today it comes to a conclusion. Certainly, they're over there at the minute anyway. And I remember it being the day after the Community Shield. Don't know if it begins today. But I'm sure they were there last week to begin it. Anyway, regardless, we'll know very, very soon which competition Forest are in. If it's the Conference League, I expect them to go on and win it. If they remain in the Europa League, I still expect them to get into the knockout stages and go quite far. So there will be plenty football available for Tsimikas. I think this would be a good transfer for Forest. And I actually think it would be a good transfer for him. Now, if he's wanting guaranteed first-team football, there's not that many clubs looking for a left-back at this point of the transfer window. So I'm not sure he will necessarily get that. I think Forest would be a good move for him. Omar Alderete, he has joined Sunderland, or is joining Sunderland, £10 million centre-back, whom I've never heard of, so I'm going to move on very, very quickly. And Fulham are going after Kevin, the Brazilian winger. €37 million bid they've put in, but Shakhtar are looking for €50 million. But it's good to see Fulham get involved in the transfer window, hopefully. They've obviously got a bit of money to spend, so that'll be interesting. Kevin's one of those players heard of. Don't think I've ever seen it. I might have seen them. When I was doing a West Ham transfer rumour show, and I said, the goalkeeper, Livakovic, I think his name was, for Fenerbahce. I said, I don't know him. And people said, yeah, you do. He was in goal when we played, I can't remember which team it was. We played a team, he was in goal. He said, and he's the goalkeeper for Croatia. When England got knocked out, I thought, right, I've seen him play, just didn't realise I had. Kevin's a bit like that. I don't think I've seen him play, but I've heard of him. So I can't tell you anything about him, though. I'm going to, just for any newbies, I'm not going to pretend. I can't do pretending. Sometimes I've tuned into a YouTuber and you can just tell. You can tell when they don't know who they're talking about and they blag it and they just throw out stuff. They say, he's quick. I mean, arguably, you could say that about any footballer because they probably are compared to the average man. But what do you mean by quick? Give me a comparison. Quick as in who? Is his acceleration quick? Is it his top speed that's quick? Is he dribbling with the ball? Is he quick at that? What do you mean by... I think they just say it and it's like... Sounds like I know who I'm talking about. Kevin, I know nothing. Moving on to someone else I know nothing about, and it's the last transfer rumour I'm going to mention today, and it's Nottingham Forest again, and it is another defender, and it's a £13 million bid for Monaco's Songutu Magassa. I like his name. He's got a good name. That's all I can tell you about him. Don't watch Monaco. Anyway, if that hasn't put you off, please do subscribe. Drop a like on the video if you're yet to do so. If you play Fantasy League, links in the description below, as well as the code if you prefer to just copy and paste it. But do get involved. There is a prize for the winner. And I would like to do 2 prizes. But the channel generates less than £200 a month. I ain't spending 2 months worth of revenue on the prizes. Willing to spend 1 month's revenue on a prize, not 2. You can take the Scotsman out of Scotland and all that. I'll catch you tomorrow.